Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon Week 2 Team Builder of the GBA Season 9. This week we are taking on Kyle A and the Miami Donphans in what is likely to be one of the craziest matches. His playstyle is to play with heat and for fun, so in order to match him shot for shot, my team is definitely bringing some heat. And I'm really excited for it. So if you have never seen him before, he is hilarious and a very, very funny commentator and very experienced battler, all things considered. So if you want to, and I encourage you to, go check him out. Link is in the description below, as is every coach in the GBA this season. Shoutouts to, I think, Jolt for compiling that list together, because I sure didn't do that work for myself. But anyway, his team, Kyle's team, speaking of Jolt, that was a brutal game last week, but we have moved on. We are not talking about it anymore. We are ready for the next one. So speaking of Kyle, anyway, Kyle's team is Protean Greninja, Zygarde 50%, Speed Boost, Blaziken, Excadrill Rabombi, Thundurus Therian, Klefki, Mega Blastoise, Celebi, Alolan Persian, and Swellow, with Thundurus and Alolan Persian being his two possible Z users. Now, right off the bat, we do see that he has the Mega Blastoise as his Mega and removal up the wazoo. Now, if you watched his Week 1 match on either his side or Necro's side, you saw how much work Toxic Spikes put up against his team. So, since Beedrill had the open move slot, I decided that instead of teching the Drill Run so I could actually hit the Excadrill in any sort of significant way, I decided to go with the Toxic Spikes. Beedrill is also my defogger this week. It outspeeds his entire team, which is amazing. And I do have access to the U-turn, which can be incredibly valuable, and the Poison Jab, which is also incredibly useful. Now, his team, it is noteworthy that Mega Blaziken will outspeed me by 1 point if he is max speed Jolly at +1, which is so frustrating, but I couldn't quite get myself to that point. So instead, I'm just running enough speed to outspeed a Swellow. And it's just what it is. I couldn't quite get to the point where Blaziken was going to be able to be outsped, so I can't count on that at +1. But if he does go into his Blaziken on my Beedrill, I'm probably just going to click Toxic Spikes as he goes for his Protect to get up to +1 from the speed boost, and then I can go from there. Blaziken isn't the biggest threat to my team because he does have Extreme 4 move slot syndrome, and I do have some answers to him in the back. Speaking of, if he does go with Protect, Swords Dance, and Dual Stab, Victini walls him. +2, high jump kick, 50%. So we are going to be able to take that on a safe switch in, which is perfectly fine by me. A Flare Blitz does less than that by a little bit. I mean, it's like 45%. Then he takes some recoil damage, so it's fine. And Psyshock can just obliterate him back. I do have the Scarf, so that if he does Protect to outspeed Victini, then I still outspeed him. That is the speed tier I am running. And Psyshock just annihilates that. And if the Persian doesn't come and the Greninja doesn't come, which they will, then Psyshock is perfectly spammable. And if they do come, then Blue Flare is incredibly useful this game. Glaciate is really just there if I find myself in against a Zygarde, which I actually do outspeed a Zygarde. That's actually what I outsped, was a +1 Zygarde, but we don't talk about that too much. Glaciate can do like 70% if he's not Yachi Berry, and I can scout that out. He can't go hard Zygarde because Blue Flare is going to be getting a 30% burn chance, which is amazing, and is super spammable against his entire team. And if I don't want to click any of those moves and my Victini is in, then we have the U-turn, which is pretty standard, Scarf Victini. I went through a lot of iterations of this Victini, but ended up settling on the Choice Scarf as the best possible item to run, just because it is incredibly useful. But I expect this Victini will not be running Scarf every week, despite the first 2 weeks looking like it does run Scarf all the time. Next up, we have our sturdy Custap Berry Donphan, rocking Earthquake, Ice Shard, Endeavor, and Stealth Rock. The idea of this Donphan is to get it in, click Stealth Rock, he hits me with something super effective. Grass Knot from the Thundurus T, Hidden Power Ice, Ice Beam from the Greninja, whatever. He hits me with something. Now, Greninja's a little bit more questionable because it does have the Water Shuriken, but something like the Swellow Boom Burst brings me down to my Custap. I click Endeavor on that turn when they... So I click Stealth Rock on a switch. He goes... Let's say he goes Greninja. Let's just say, right? I click Stealth Rock. He goes Greninja. All right. Then I click Endeavor. He hits me with an Ice Beam, Grass Knot, whatever he wants to hit me with. even just Surf, whatever. I Endeavor, bring him all the way down to 1 HP because I live on Sturdy. And then I get Custap, Ice Shard, kill the Greninja because I out-prioritize the Water Shuriken with my own Ice Shard. The one thing I don't out-prioritize is the extreme speed from the Zygarde, so I do have to watch out for that. But Endeavor, it can work on the Blastoise, even if he's running Aqua Jet. Custap and Ice Shard can pop that, so I can bring, if he goes in Blastoise on my Donphan, I click Stealth Rock. I hope he doesn't click Rapid Spin at that point, but I really hope he's just like, alright, I'm just going to attack with Water type attack. I click Endeavor, he brings me down to 1, I go for Ice Shard with the Custap and kill him. And alternatively, if I don't get that off, that's actually perfectly fine. Going down something like, going down to something low HP and not wanting to stay in on something like the Zygarde that might have the E-Speed, I can switch this thing out and bring it back in on something like the Excadrill that doesn't have priority, the Thundurus that likely doesn't have priority, or even the Persian, and be able to get a Custap Berry later. So Custap actually ends up working really well with his Donphan this week. It is physically defensive to take on the Zygarde and the Excadrill, but it is really designed, and the Blaziken, but it's really designed to, especially Blaziken, Custap and Earthquake can pop at any moment, right? So if he's at like +4 speed and I just get to like Custap Earthquake and we're good. So that's what I'm going to be rocking with the Donphan this week, and it only gets more heat from there because we are rocking an AV Zapdos with Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, U-Turn, and Heat Wave. This thing hits his entire team, and if I make good predictions, honestly, I don't even have to predict that much. It's really just Heat Wave, hope for a burn, and if he goes into Zygarde for some reason, then I just get to click Hidden Power, and I survive any hit from the Zygarde, so HP Ice is going to be able to do a lot of damage, and I get to scout out if he's defensive. I can pop a Hayachi Berry there and not have to worry about it later. Things like that. I don't kill him with 1 HP Ice because I am not offensively invested. That's fine. And then if I can take out the Zygarde and, you know, the Thundurus and the Excadrill, then Thunderbolt's really spammable against everything except that Celebi. But all of my other moves are super effective against Celebi. So this is a twofold response. It is a huge Mega Blastoise check. It is a really good Celebi check. And it is a good Boom Burst Specs Swellows check, which I do think he's going to bring. That is the better Swellow against my team, in my opinion. And if he goes Guts, then he goes Guts. But that is, I don't expect him to go with a Guts Swellow. I expect it to be Specs Boom Burst. That is a better Swellow against my team. So that's what I'm going to be able to do. And Thunderbolt, I probably won't click much. This thing also can come in on the Klefki and not get paralyzed. It can get Toxic, which is sort of annoying, but we have to deal with it. I thought about running Lumberry on this. I put Life Orb on this at one point. I was doing an offensive Metal Sound set that I ran for a little while in some of my mocks, so we settled on the AV being my best answer, and who knows, Static? He U-turns with something like the Rabombi, static. You U-turn with a Greninja, static. You click a high jump kick into this as I switch it in on your Blaziken, static. So we've got options there. Hopefully it works out. That is what I'm going to be going with this week. Next up, we have Ditto. For the first time in my history using Ditto, I have drafted this thing 5 times. For the first time, I am not bringing a Scarf. I am going to be rocking out with a Quick Claw this week. I do think the ability to change up moves is invaluable for the Ditto. Plus the 20% chance that I will outspeed you, plus a speed tie is 50%, is actually always in my favor anyway. So I figure Quick Claw is the best option this week. And there's a very good chance, let's say I have the Mega Blastoise, and I've got that in, and he goes into his Thundurus. He's like, I'm Scarf Thundurus, and I click Ice Beam, and I outspeed him because the Quick Claw happens to pop on that turn. There's a 20% chance that anything can happen in this game. He's a +6 Blaziken, you know, and I can go into Ditto, and there's 70% chance that I'm going to outspeed him. So we'll see what happens, but this Ditto is going to be rocking out with the Calm Nature, and I believe Hidden Power Ice has its Hidden Power. I think that's what I set it to. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because if I do switch into the Thundurus, I can take the Thunderbolt from that, and it just get HP back, and then I can click Hidden Power Ice. Zygarde is his best check to it, and that hits both of those things. And the best part is, he goes Zygarde, I click HP Ice, I kill the Zygarde, he goes Blastoise, like I can take that, I click Thunderbolt, and that thing dies too. So we got options with this Ditto. Hopefully it works out. That's the plan. And lastly, but certainly not least, Scrafty is going to be coming this week. Drain Punch, Knockoff, Ice Punch, High Jump Kick, Choice Banded Scrafty. Name a High Jump Kick switch-in on his team. Name one. Rabombi's the only thing that wants to take it, sort of. And it certainly isn't going to appreciate getting knocked off or ice punched, that's for sure, from a choice banded Scrafty. Mega Blastoise, if it's not Mega'd, 50%. If it is Mega'd, 45% with a high jump kick. Swellow dies. Persian dies. Celebi, take a knockoff. Klefki does not like high jump kick at all. Thundurus doesn't want to take an ice punch and doesn't want to take a knockoff either if he's not a Z move. Excadrill, yeah, that's not living. Blaziken, that ain't living. Zygarde, ice punch. Greninja, it sort of depends on what his type is. But honestly, being able to switch this thing in, get an Intimidate off as a perfect, almost perfect Zygarde check, and very good Blaziken check, and then be able to just click high jump kick almost 100% for free, or ice punch, or knockoff. And if I don't want to miss the high jump kick and his team is whittled down late game, this Scrafty comes in, it clicks Drain Punch. And that's a little bit less power, but it certainly gets the job done. This thing can take a Specs Swellow Boom Burst and Oko back, even at, like, it does like 60%. This thing can take hits from the Excadrill, which is something I do expect him to bring. This thing actually switches into the Excadrill just about every time. And then if I do start getting whittled down a little bit too much, Drain Punch on whatever he decides to switch in. Because the first time he goes Excadrill, he might set up rocks, that's fine. He might just go Earthquake, that's fine too. We take like 20%, and then we click Knockoff. The first time he goes into it, we see what his switch in is. If he goes Klefki, then I knock off its Light Clay, awesome. We know that he's got screens on it. I knock off its Leftovers, awesome. We know it doesn't have any other form of recovery. So that's super great. I switch myself out. You know, if he goes Klefki, I can go into Zapdos or Donphan or whatever, and then I can come back in later on the Excadrill, the Blaziken, the Zygarde, any of his physical attackers really, and then just spam high jump kick. And if he's got the Thundurus left, then I just click Ice Punch, and then he goes Thundurus, expecting me to go high jump kick, dead. So Scrafty is going to be super fun this week. I'm very excited to use it. I've never used a Scrafty in a competitive league before, so I'm actually thinking this thing is kind of amazing. And we are running a lot of HP and a lot of defensive investment and a bit of attack investment. It's about 100, I think 140 EVs of attack investment. So it's got a decent amount of attack for that choice band to soak up and make greater. And let's be honest, if this thing gets a couple of kills, I'd be pretty stoked. So we do have answers. If he gives me Blaziken, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to have to sack something and then go into Ditto, and Ditto is going to have to 1v1 a Blaziken with a Quick Claw instead of a Scarf. Until the Quick Claw activates and I lose a Speed Tie, I do think that I am going to make him think that I'm Scarfed. And that's kind of the plan. But once that happens, then I am going to be able to just switch moves up. Or let's say the Blaziken comes in, we get to like +5, and I high jump kick, kill his Blaziken off. And he's like, all right, he's scarfed into high jump kick, let me go Rabombi, and I click Flare Blitz and kill the Rabombi. Well, that's pretty good too. So we do have that squad this week. It's going to be super fun. I hope you guys are excited for the GBA Season 9. We are bringing some fun sets, especially against some fun opponents, and I hope you guys are excited. I will see you guys back here tomorrow with our Week 2 battle against Kyle A and the Miami Donphans. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the support. If you haven't already seen, there is a Twitter post that I made recently. This is a little bit of a plug for my 300 subscriber Q&A special. So if you guys want to leave questions, you can leave them as comments on this video. Today's the last day that I will be taking questions, so I'll take them as comments here. You guys can leave them as comments on the Twitter post, or you can go into my Discord, which the link is in the description below, and you guys can leave them in a special chat there. So there's lots of places for you guys to get some involvement with this, and I will be probably filming it tomorrow, I would assume, on Easter Day, because I am not Christian, so I don't celebrate Easter, so I have that day free. So I am probably going to be filming it tomorrow and uploading it sometime next week, so hopefully you guys are excited for that. But either way, I will see you guys back here tomorrow with the battle against Kyle A. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everybody.